Huawei, proud sponsor of TechBusters.
Recent news headlines around the world have reported NASA findings of large amounts of water long ago on Mars, but present today in other bodies in our solar system.
In our quest to answer the question of are we alone in the universe, we're looking for other habitable environments, besides here on Earth, of course. And we're seeing that environment in many different places. You'll hear a little bit about our Mars rovers that have established that Mars was once habitable. And Mars has water today. It had freshwater lakes and its own water cycle, but it also has organics. We've seen a methane signal. We know that there are nitrates in the Martian surface. It's currently a habitable environment, but we don't know whether there was or is life on Mars.
What we've discovered using our assets at Mars, looking at the terrain and our ground truth observations from all our rovers, is that Mars in its past had a significant amount of water. In fact, as John mentioned, it had a habitable environment. Curiosity is in a region where water flowed pretty rapidly. So when we think of Mars in its past, we recognize that it was a water world, much like the Earth. It had clouds, it had oceans, and a hydrological cycle. But the most recent observations that are really tantalizing are those that were made with ground-based telescopes in the infrared. Here we see Mars as it was in the past, but now we're going to paint the oceans. We're going to strip away the clouds. We're going to look through the atmosphere. And what we find is that about 50% of the northern hemisphere of Mars had water.
So when we talk about trying to find life on Mars, or maybe life on Europa, or on other moons of the solar system, we're not talking about little green men. We're more talking about little microbes. So this is going to be life that's going to be a little bit hard to find in our own solar system. And so when we think about that, we start thinking, how are we going to find it? Let's think about Mars. We've been sending these spacecraft. They have very sophisticated instruments. So what do we look for? We look for the building blocks of life. We look for organic molecules that might tell us that some process is going on. We look for something scientists call disequilibria. We look for things out of balance. Is there something that seems to be consuming something and giving something else off? So those are the things we look for scientifically. But ultimately, I'm a field geologist. I go out and break open rocks and look for fossils. Those are hard to find. So I have a bias that it's eventually going to take humans on the surface of Mars, field geologists, astrobiologists, chemists, actually out there looking for that good evidence of life that we can bring back to Earth for all the scientists to argue about and say, is this life, is it not? How do those cells compare to cells here on Earth? Do these microbes that formed on another planet, do they have RNA or DNA like life has here on Earth? These are the questions that ultimately I think it's going to take our astrobiologists on the surface of Mars to answer. Within all of our lifetime, though, we're going to understand that there is life on other bodies in the solar system. We're going to understand the implications of that for evolution of life here on Earth. We're going to find planets around other stars that we can say we see potential signs of habitability in their atmospheres. That's all going to happen in the next 10 to 20 years. How exciting is that? We're on the verge of things that people have wondered about for millennia. Are we alone? And here we are on the verge of finding that out.